Hola y bienvenidos. This is Costa Rican Spanish 101. My name is Cailin. I am the 2015 Mojo blogger for CEA Study Abroad. And in this video, I'm going to be demonstrating a few of the quirks of Costa Rican Spanish compared to Spanish you might hear in other countries. We will look at the accent, at some vocabulary, and at grammar. Yay, grammar! Okay, so let's start with the accent. Now, the Costa Rican accent isn't super different from other dialects of Central American Spanish. Since we're in Central America, we do have Lleismo here. So that means that instead of hearing, like for street, calle, you'll hear calle, or llevar instead of llevar, or tortilla instead of tortilla. It's not quite as strong as like the Argentinian Lleismo. It's more of like a soft J, tortilla. And then specific to San Jose, they don't really pronounce double R's, so if you cannot trill your R's, you don't even have to worry about it here because they don't do it. If it's in the middle of a word, you'll just hear a regular R. For example, instead of perro, you'll hear perro. If it's at the end of the word, you'll hear like a whistle. My host mom always, every time she sees me, she's like, oh, mi amor, every time, mi amor. So that's really all there is to a Costa Rican accent that I'm able to pick up on as a native English speaker. There are a few phrases and vocabulary also that are specific to Costa Rica. Chances are, if you've been looking into studying in Costa Rica, you probably already know about pura vida. Pura vida, it means literally pure life. You'll hear people use this in response to like, ¿Cómo está? ¿Qué tal? They'll say, ay, pura vida. But it's also used in, like, instead of de nada, like if you say gracias, someone might say, ay, pura vida. There's also ticos, instead of Costa Ricans, instead of using the word Costa Ricans or Costarricenses, they would say ticos. So like if you're in Costa Rica, you're going to be making a lot of tico friends. There's also my, which is kind of a mix between like dude and bro and a filler word. So you'll hear people use it in like that context, like, ay, ¿cómo está, my? But also as like a filler word. Some people use it like every third or fourth word, kind of how we use like in the United States. You also have EDI or EDI. This is a little bit harder to explain. If you're friends with somebody, they might open a conversation by saying VI. Also, if you're having a conversation with somebody and you want to show that you're listening, like they should go on, you say, oh, VI, like go on, keep talking. And then it's not necessarily Costa Rican in particular, but here they use the word tranquila a lot. You're going to hear it all the time. Tranquila, tranquila. Don't worry, calm down, it's not a big deal, that kind of thing. They don't really use no se preocupe, which is literally don't worry in Spanish, or no te preocupe, because that Costa Ricans are famous for, they don't say no, and a lot of times if a Costa Rican does say no se preocupe, that actually means no. So they actually use tranquila instead to tell you don't worry. I'm sure you'll never use it, but here in Costa Rica, to say you're hungover, you would say estoy de goma, which means I'm of glue. Makes sense, right? But if you do hear Costa Ricans saying that they're of glue, you don't have to worry about it. It just means they're hungover. Grammar, my favorite. So here in Costa Rica, they actually use vos, which I was surprised. I wasn't aware that they used that, but it's also in Nicaragua. So the first time I actually heard it here was from my Nicaraguan roommate when she looked at me and said, ¿De dónde sos? And I was like, what? What does that mean? And it's just vos. They use vos here. But if you can't use vos, don't worry, because actually most of the time here they use usted. So I would say stick to usted most of the time if you don't know how to use vos, because they really are quite formal here in addressing each other with usted. But if you do want to try to use vos, it's pretty simple. It just shifts the emphasis of a verb to the end. So for example, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen a poster or a picture that I posted from Duran Sanatorium that says vos vida me matas. Well, if you were using tu, it would be tu vida me matas. But since it's vos, it's matas. It shifts the emphasis to the end of the word instead of the beginning of the word. And then also it's a little bit different with irregular verbs. For example, instead of tienes, you would say tenes. Tenes un lapicero. Or instead of quieres, quieres. Quieres un casado. So that's what you'll see with vos. They still recognize tú here, so you can certainly use tú. It's just most people use vos. So that is Costa Rican Spanish 101. I hope it helps you in your studies or travels in Costa Rica. Pura vida!